What's up, Fumble fam? I'm Brooke.
And I'm Noelle, and you're listening to Girls Don't Fumble, the #1 sports podcast for NFL Girl Talk.
We sift through all the football news so you don't have to.
Let's get into it. Come on, Barry.
Oh my God, one more strike away from winning the literal World Series.
The nerves, the heartbeat on the chest has got to be crazy.
Oh, there's 2 outs? Okay.
Yes! MVP!
Oh my
Look
gosh.
at that!
Woo! Oh my God, I'm out of breath. I think I was holding my breath during that moment. Woo!
Oh my gosh, you guys, we are watching the World Series. Dodgers have defeated the Yankees in quite a close game.
That was crazy.
That was wild.
Dodgers came in and won 4-0. That is incredible. No, they didn't. They lost last night.
Yeah.
I'm not a big baseball fan. Dodgers won 4 games out of 5, which is still equally great.
Amazing. And they've been such exciting games to watch. We've been watching all weekend. Unfortunately for all the Dodgers fans that bought tickets over the next few days, they will not be returning. They will be returning with a win though, which is exciting.
It's their
Go
8th
Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. This is it's so fun to be living in the city of the World Series champions.
Yeah.
They
I kind of
got
wish we were out right now, but
I know. What are we doing? We just started the podcast, you guys. We were waiting until the game was over and then
we were about to start. They literally have one more out before they won the World Series, and we
might as well just wait this one out. We've been watching all night. We're like, why not start in the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, and ready, set, let's podcast.
But that was our live reaction. And what a way to start, just a few hours shy of Halloween.
So exciting. Happy spooky season, you guys. Spooky for you New Yorkers who lost to our Dodgers.
Sorry.
So happy Halloween, Fumblers. If you're watching on Thursday, you can see we are a little spooky in the studio today.
Got your hand.
Got your toes.
Got your dogs.
Noelle, how are you spending Halloween? How are you finding the season?
It's been a great spooky season. I've just been really leaning into the spook.
I love the shirt.
This season. Since October has started, at our house, we've been watching at least one scary movie a night. So there's been some nights that I've been gone because of work and stuff, but every night that I've been free where I've been watching TV on the couch, we are watching either a spooky television show or a spooky movie, mostly a spooky movie. But I did celebrate the actual holiday on Saturday last weekend, as most people should. So I know people are doing the 2 weekends, but I'm just the one. And tomorrow or today, which is Halloween, but it's tomorrow for us recording today, I'm going to be going to the movies to watch a scary movie, I think. Or passing out candy. One of the two, we haven't decided. So we'll see.
They couldn't be more opposite. One's wholesome, sweet children candy. The other one scary horror movie.
Yeah.
And you love a horror movie. I do. Fact that you've watched this many throughout the season, Fumblers, you're either a Brooke or you're a Noelle. You will not even watch a preview for a scary movie, or you will watch one every single day of spooky season.
Yeah.
Can you tell the Fumblers what your favorite horror movie is? Do you have a favorite?
Man.
Or top 2?
That's hard. I would say new age, not talking about the classics from my younger years. I would say classics, Amityville Horror is one that spooked me to my core, and I couldn't go to bed kind of deal. But new era is Talk to Me.
Okay, when did that come out?
That came out last year, and I've seen it about 4 times.
Oh my God.
We watched it on New Year's night, or once it was the new year, it was 3 a.m. and we were we should watch this, and we were fucked up, and we were watching Talk to Me.
What's it about?
It is kind of about these kids that happen upon a haunted object, and it's a hand, and every time you touch the hand, you say talk to me, then literally demons go into your soul.
Cool.
And some kids don't get out of it.
Yeah.
And there's some death, and there's some darkness, some spirits. But that one was actually very spooky but thrilling, and it actually like gave me chills kind of vibes.
But there was like, I'm assuming like a happy ending for the kids.
No.
Not at all.
No,
every
actually
single one
quite the
dies.
opposite.
I love that that's your favorite. Like searching for the rainbow at the end.
Here's the thing. No scary movie, if it's good, has a happy ending.
Everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
I just can't do it. I feel too bad for everybody. And then I'm scared and can't go to bed. And then I'm convinced my house is haunted. And I can't handle it.
Right.
And I wish I could, because I do see why it could be fun.
Yeah.
You're very brave. I haven't watched a scary movie and I couldn't tell you how many years, because I absolutely refuse to. Like it's been at least like a decade since I've sat down for a scary movie.
Yeah.
And
we talked about this. It's a little bit more of like the excitement. Like to me, it's almost like, I wouldn't say it's the same at all, but it's a thrill of, say, going on a roller coaster, except in a very different environment. Like
everybody dies at the end. Like
because you are scared a little, you're scared a little bit, and then you're like, like you came out on the other side, like that was fun, you know? Because like you almost died, but you didn't.
Yeah, it's kind of like a roller coaster. It's like woo, like I'm like flying through the air, like I feel like the wind in my face, and then I'm at Disneyland, and this is like I'm on my couch, like locking all my doors.
Yeah.
Thinking that I'm maybe possessed.
Here's the thing. I'm also not watching scary movies by myself. It's like a joint. It's a social.
That'd be insane to watch a scary movie alone.
Fan.
Oh my God. I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah. And I also can't watch it like before. No, actually, I was going to say I can't watch it before bed, but we watch every scary movie before
It's exclusively before bed.
But it's, yeah. It's not like in the comfort of my bed. Typically, it's, still in a social setting, which is the couch, but it's fun.
Wow.
We love it.
No, I'm impressed. I cannot relate even a little bit, but I love that you do that. And sound off in the comments, Fumblers. Do you like scary movies, or are you
spooky girl or not?
Yes.
I went full spook today.
No, you look so good. So you're really embracing the season. I'm just like holding on, waiting for Friday, November 1st, because I'm going to put my Christmas tree up.
Mariah Carey.
So I'm going to get the Mariah Carey Christmas special on. Yeah. And that is the holiday that I'm looking forward to. I'm just kind of like, I have my pumpkins out now. I have my Halloween costume, like all of the things, but like, I live for the Christmas season. That's what I want to really like relish in and like sit on my couch and rot and watch all the movies and stuff.
And I don't want the Fumblers to think that I'm like an emo girl that like hates Christmas, because I like also love Christmas too.
You're just like, you're a lover, not a hater.
Yeah, I love all of it.
Everything.
I love Thanksgiving. Like give me every single holiday and I will dress up and I will just like fully embrace.
Any paid time off I'm taking.
Why isn't Halloween paid time off yet?
Truly.
Do you know what you're doing yet?
I went out last weekend to a bar crawl in West Hollywood. Super fun. I dressed up as Charlie XCX, which was
iconic.
The best. I went to the sweat tour recently, couldn't get enough, needed to just continue to embody her. Like it's getting embarrassing this point, like how much I love her. I'm like, it didn't stop at listening to her album all summer, then went to the floor on her concert and then said, oh, what am I going to do for Halloween? I'm going to pretend to be Charlie.
Yeah.
And I let people call me Charlie all night. And I was like, wait, what? And people were like in my DMs being like, you look just like her. I'm like, stop.
Yes, you did.
Thank
your
you
hair,
so
the sunglasses,
much.
the outfit. It was on point.
So now the challenge, as you know, is that we're also dressing up as pop princesses in the office tomorrow for our work dress up on Halloween.
Yes, tell us.
Which is today. So I don't have a backup plan, and my only my Charlie costume is literally like hair extensions, sunglasses, a wife beater, and like a super short skirt, like whole booty out. So like I have to decide what I'm doing for work tomorrow.
Yeah, I haven't even, I forgot about
that. That's in like a few hours. So
yeah.
Catch me at the office tomorrow in my booty skirt and my wife beater as Charlie.
You can throw on some leggings maybe?
Absolutely. And
some
then
tights?
Yeah, I'll do some leggings, tights. I'll figure it out. But going out on Halloween too, going to the West Hollywood Carnival, fun little parade. So staying local in WeHo. And then going to a Saltburn party on Friday.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That is like dressed up like
fun.
Saltburn vibes.
Yeah.
So it's like glitter
do you have
and
that
stuff.
Outfit yet?
I like have like really crazy things that I'm piecing together. Like I have like pink tights and like a metallic kind of shirt, and it's like none of it goes together, but I think hopefully that's the point. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. I got Ty like a little crown.
Did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as a scary movie.
No.
So yeah, I watched it. I enjoyed it. It was like a thriller.
It was a thriller.
It was a quiet thriller.
Yeah. Yeah, with like a very slow build up, but it was very fun.
I don't think I would have liked it as much if it wasn't like Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi. Like if it was lesser known iconic men, I think there would be no reason for me to watch. But like I just love the two of them so much.
Yeah.
That it made it like a fun watch. It was a really interesting movie. It was just like fucking gross. Like I would never rewatch it.
Yeah. It was definitely like a social moment too, or like a cultural moment.
I didn't want to miss out. My eyebrow girl told me about it and I was like, oh my God, Amy, like I have to watch. Like, I need to.
And I don't know if this was a joke or not, but I think that there was a vinyl that came out of the soundtrack to the show. And the top of it had like a clear casing over it. And there was literally like a liquid in there that was like in there that
like bathwater?
Yeah.
Ew.
But the other liquid.
Oh, okay. Now I'm following.
Yeah.
Okay. Ew.
A little bit more cloudy.
Oh no. Oh no. And people were buying this?
I think so.
And doing what?
It was a vinyl. It was like you put it on your record player and you play the songs.
Where does the liquid go?
It was part of the vinyl.
Oh, yeah. It was in the middle. So it's like spinning around in the
and it was just moving.
Fucking crazy. But like I kind of love it because I love something different.
Funny. Yeah, it was different for sure, but love it.
Okay, cool. So moving on.
Anyway,
love that.
Any other things that we missed from the weekend that we should be discussing?
Oh my gosh, Taylor Swift in New Orleans. I was blown away. It looked like such a fun weekend. I feel like there were so many celebs, including were the Kelseys at the New Orleans show, or was it the weekend before?
I feel like they were in Miami.
Maybe they're in Miami.
Yeah.
Maybe Travis was at both. No, I'm making stuff up at this point. But
I didn't see any. That doesn't mean that they weren't there, but I didn't see any videos of them being there. But very well could have been.
It looked amazing. I'm just so jealous of everyone who gets to go to the Eras tour right now. It feels like forever ago that it was in LA. I mean, it was over a year ago at this point. Like it's crazy that the concert's still going on. She brought Sabrina Carpenter out, which is amazing because obviously Sabrina was opening for her like a year ago in Australia and stuff. And Sabrina, I was a fan of Sabrina the whole time. I thought that was massive that she got Sabrina to be an opener. But since that time, she's gotten so much bigger that it's just, oh my God, like two pop princesses just like on stage at once. And apparently it was the one night off that Sabrina had from her own short and sweet tour. So just like so cool that like she has so much respect for Taylor and she loves Taylor so much and probably knows that she owes like a lot of her. I don't think she like necessarily owes a lot to her fame, but like people think that Taylor blew Sabrina up. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think it kind of all happened together because Sabrina had such iconic songs that would have been big whether or not she was on the Eras tour.
Yeah.
So I feel like that Me Espresso would have blown up regardless of who she was opening for.
Yeah.
Anyways, I do feel like she owes it, or she like feels like she owes something to Taylor to like, you know, like, thank you so much for believing in me and giving me a chance, and that she was willing to give her day off up to be on the Eras tour.
Yeah. And I mean, it seems like she's touring in almost every single major city. So to have a day off and to fly all the way to New Orleans, I don't know where she was before that, but I mean, that just comes to show like the bond that they've created. And I do agree with you. You know, she did the Eras tour, but I also think a big part of it, I'm not sure if the Eras tour gave her the exposure or not, but led her to her Coachella appearance this year. And of course, once you go on the Coachella stage, then things just blow up even more. So it was just like a domino effect. So it's been awesome to watch. And another thing that kind of stands out from the Eras tour being in New Orleans, I mean, I don't think there was any other city except for New Orleans that I got FOMO to like that I wasn't there, because New Orleans already has so much culture there, and like Bourbon Street and the French Quarter, they just completely embrace the whole community. And I've been watching a lot of videos of people who were there, and like, you know, they have the saying like, it was rare, I was there, but like I really felt it because everybody was singing in the streets. the bars were like, bar owners were saying like this was the best thing for our city, the best guests we've ever had. Like this was one of the best weekends. People were super kind and nice and just like spreading that joy. And it just really comes to show the community that Taylor has brought. And like, I think we know New Orleans can be fun and all of that. It definitely has like a little bit more of a rougher edge in some cases, but like it brought a whole wholesome moment over the weekend that I think a lot of people weren't expecting that were like locals there until they actually were a part of it all. So that was like my favorite part of seeing all the videos. And even outside the dome where she was playing at, they had like a huge like friendship bracelet. Like I think it said, I forget what it said. It said like Taylor Swift or like the Eras Tour, and like these big fake like friendship bracelets on the outside of the stadium. So it was awesome. And we were just watching from the side, but it looked amazing. And I already want to go to New Orleans so bad. And that was like, man, that would have been a really fun weekend to go.
That would have been the best way to go. That sounds like so much fun. Like going to the concert and then getting to experience like, Taylor playing in all the bars, like walking down the street, like the community of Swifties. Yeah. I can't imagine any better way to experience that concert. So very jealous of everyone who got to go. We love you, Taylor. Chiefs got another win this weekend. So all around, things are looking quite fabulous for, the it couple of the NFL.
Definitely. And who knows what team is going to knock them off of their sweet chariot.
Their sweet chariot. I don't know. It seems like no one can stop them at this point. Even when they aren't playing well, they're winning. So it's crazy.
It's so crazy. But
anyways. I think that wraps it up for the weekend.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into our Halloween game?
Yes, let's do it. We've been really excited about this one.
Okay, you guys. So we have a little game for you all. Well, we're going to play along with us. It's called Trick or Treat or Ghost. And it's basically the same format of FMK, but trick is fuck, marry is treat, and then ghost is obviously kill.
Yeah.
So it's like, would you like to have a little treat with the man? Would you like to trick him? You know the vibes.
Yeah.
Or ghost him. Goodbye. We don't want him.
Yeah.
So we're going to give each other 3 options. We haven't seen these options ahead of time. So it's going to be live reaction and a live deliberation. Do you want to do your round first?
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna do both, right? Because we both came up with 2 options.
Yeah. We'll do 4 rounds.
Okay. Trick, treat, or ghost.
Stop.
Okay, this one's actually like an easy one. Jalen Hurts,
Papi,
Travis Kelce, or Lad McConkey.
Not Lad McConkey. Oh my God, you put that one in there targeted for me. You know I love him. Like my baby boy. Okay, fuck. Oh my God. That's a really hard one.
Yeah.
That's a really hard one because like Travis and Jalen are like the hottest men in the NFL, but like Lad's like literally my son. Like I can't. And so maybe I'll ghost Lad because like I can't do anything inappropriate with him.
Okay, that's
considering
fair.
he's my baby boy. Yeah, I'm just ghosting him. Just like, listen, we're gonna end it here, and then would need to treat Travis Kelce.
Love.
He's end game, and then Jalen Hurts. You want to trick or treat around the neighborhood, baby boy? What do you say, big guy?
You want to come trick with me? I love it. Okay.
Perfect. Do you want to answer it too, or that was just for me? Okay,
it's
cool.
okay.
I'll ask you one.
No.
This one is a little bit different.
I knew it.
So, Harrison Butker, Andy Reid, or Jerry Jones? I went the opposite direction.
Ghost Harrison.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
We're going, you said Andy Reid or Jerry Jones, right?
I sure did. Yeah. There's no good answer.
There isn't a good answer, but if I had to say, treat is like,
marry.
Okay, treat would be Jerry Jones because at this point I'm marrying for money.
Okay, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to kick the bucket anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart.
And then Andy Reid would be my trick because let's just get it over with. Maybe we'd have some nice barbecue and maybe he'd fall asleep.
Not before he got that sweet tricks. I love that.
That was
good choices.
Okay, yeah. Were they fair?
Yeah.
Fair? Okay.
Fair. I like the rationale.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay. My next one. Trick, treat, or ghost.
Okay. Why am I sweating?
Gardner Minshew.
Jesus.
Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Or Joe Flacco.
Oh. I want to like treat Joe Flacco. Like honestly, bless that man.
Yeah.
Like he seems like a sweetie who, like I don't think he bothers me at all. I don't know. I could be wrong. He's probably, I mean, of the three, I think he's my immediate like least
safest.
Yeah, he's the safest. Like if we had to be fully honest, I feel like Aaron Rodgers is very good looking, but he's just such an interesting guy and a little bit weird and maybe not in the best ways and is like estranged from his family. And like, I don't know. I feel like I don't want to get involved in that long term.
Yeah.
So that for those reasons, it leaves me one option, and that's Trick for Aaron Rodgers. And I feel good about that. Gardner Minshew, I'm sorry, babe. There was nothing there. I'm going to have to ghost you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay, cool.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. For our final round, I have 3 choices for you. Trick, treat, or ghost. Joe Burrow, obviously. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Mike McDaniel.
Well, obviously, I'm going to treat my fine man, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Garoppolo will be my trick.
Okay.
Because for obvious reasons, he's tricking out in the streets already. So
let's just round him up.
Yeah, let's just round him up. He's used to this lifestyle, so it will be one and the same.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, Mike McDaniels is going to be my ghost because, yeah. If I'm going to like go full out and really like, obviously Joe Burrow is like not even a part of this question.
No,
he is my treat.
Everything up for
every
him.
day of my life. And I feel like if I'm just thinking like night on the town, like we're just gonna go out tricking. Mike McDaniels has a family. You know, how dare I take him away from his family?
Okay, well, in all these scenarios, no one has family. Yeah, they're all single and asking for your number. That's how the game works.
Still yet, I still think like Garoppolo is from like with the streets, you know, and from the streets,
and he's in the LA streets now. So
he's
that
in the
works
LA
out
streets. It's easy. He's a veteran. It's easy because in location wise, he's part of the trick lifestyle. So I just would like to be with a veteran in that sense. So that's where my head goes with that.
That makes sense. And it'd be hard to like pass up that opportunity. Yeah. I would have switched Mike and Jimmy.
I know.
So I think the question was hard for me, but as I said it, I was like, this is actually a pretty easy one for anyone who doesn't have a crush on Mike McDaniel.
And not to say that like, yeah, I like him, but not in like any of those kind of scenarios kind of crush, you know? It's like, oh, he's like cute and like he'd be fun to hang out with during the day, but not out tricking.
Oh, I'm going with my guy Jimmy to hang out in the moonlight hours with Mike McDaniel.
He's probably fun too, if we're being honest. Yeah.
He's in his little sweatsuit.
He got his
ordering a little whiskey. That was fun.
That was that. We love games.
We love games.
What better way than to kick us off with spooky season?
So fun.
Well, we have 2 other stories for you guys that I promise is somewhat related to football, but we're getting even closer. Should we get started on some of the drama of this week?
Oh yeah. This is probably one of the biggest news updates we've had in a while.
It is. And this person that we're going to be talking about is like indirectly related, but she is in fact a part of the NFL in one way or another.
Forever apart.
Forever apart. Yeah. We're talking about our girl Giselle. And as you guys don't know, this is Tom Brady's ex-wife.
Yep.
They broke up back in 2022. And as of, I want to say this week, over the past few days, we have learned that Miss Giselle is pregnant. And she's not just pregnant with anybody. She is pregnant with her jiu-jitsu master, her sweet coach. And his name is Joaquin Valente. And this was shot. I don't know if it's quite shocking, to be honest, because they've been hanging out. They've been seen together for the past 2 years. And there's obviously been a lot of rumors in the tabloids of if they were dating or not, or if it's, if it's romantic, or
I think they confirmed it. Like, I think he's called, like, in the headlines, like, her boyfriend.
Now.
Yeah.
But like early on, it felt like, wow, they're being seen a lot together.
Totally.
And fresh out of the breakup, when Giselle wasn't alone, I could have sworn like she was either with her kids or with Mr. Joaquin. And I believe she's 5 to 6 months pregnant. And this is huge news because not only did we see the fans of Giselle like, wow, this is a crazy story, but we also see our boy Tom Brady post on Instagram this week. And he had a picture of a sunset, and it was a song, I think it was by the Dixie Chicks, about like closure or new beginnings. And it was just one of those cryptic posts that you usually that you put out when you're like after a breakup and you're just really sad, and you're just like, it's almost like cathartic to just post something. It could be a quote, it could be a sunset, it could be something a little artistic, but that just kind of helps you get through it. And it was just odd timing, but we have to talk about this because there's a lot of story, a lot of things that have led up to this moment.
It was so emo. And like we always say, our favorite thing is when players in the NFL like just go on social media and just post their business. So it's like, okay, like keep us fed, like we'll eat it right up. I want to say it was a Fleetwood Mac song, Landslide. And it was like kind of about like not being like happy with where you're at. And like, it just was so, I think like he posted like some hearts too. It was like hearts, the sunset, the lyrics, like, you know, like if you have a song on your Instagram, you can choose to not have the lyrics be presented in the story. Like you can just have it like playing in the background, which I think is the default setting. So he clicked through all the settings to make sure that those lyrics would show up with his sunset.
That was intentional.
And that is a man who is not doing well in the slightest. That is no good.
That's basically like a 2016, like circa 2016, when you're posting a quote on your story because you're sad.
Yeah.
You're posting the lyrics to an already like sad song about not being happy with where you are in your life, then
it's really bad.
Yeah, he was in his feels that day for sure.
And then he just like posted something completely normal after, like no acknowledgement, no follow-up. Like usually if something super cryptic is posted like that right after some big news related to you drops, like you'll have like a notes app reaction or you'll have something. Like I think I screenshotted what he posted next because I was like, want to make sure.
Was it something about football?
It was. Okay, well, first, here's the screenshot with the sunset and then the 3 hearts. And the lyrics that I screenshotted said, "Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love?" That's not good.
That man is hurt.
He's on the cover of Sotheby's magazine.
He said, let me pick myself back up right now.
He went right from Heartbroken Sunset to him posting with the football in literally a magazine cover, Sotheby's Tom Brady edition, just tagged Sotheby's.
That is so funny.
It's so,
like he just had to remind himself, I'm him. I'm the GOAT. Okay.
And the funny thing is like that he posted the magazine cover 10 hours later. He didn't like delete the lyrics or anything. He kept that up and running. So he had them both up at the same time and thought nothing of it.
So he just had a full journey of how he's been feeling.
Yeah. So that was crazy.
That is wild.
And that is just like so classic men. I also, we'll get into like the full timeline of everything.
Yeah.
But just staying on the topic of like petty social media, right when like Giselle and Tom were originally breaking up, she had liked and commented on one of those like Instagram quotes that you said like people post on their stories. And it was like something like, you can't be in a committed relationship with someone who's inconsistent with you. Read that again. You know those posts that they're so lame where they're like, blah, blah, blah. Read it again. She
say it to yourself 10 times in the mirror.
Not only liked it, put a little prayer hands up in the comments like publicly. And I'm like, Giselle, honey, sweet baby, you can't be doing that as a public figure.
No. And it's almost like they go back to their inner child. Like they forget that there's kind of rules to social media. Yeah. Not rules, but like, you know, unspoken things that maybe the younger kids kind of know and do. But like, I feel like people who are, you know, slightly in the older demographic, like they don't really know those, and they a little unhinged, but like I love it, you know?
I love it so much.
It gives us something to talk about.
It's like, yeah, they're giving, like they didn't have to be so generous with us, but they were.
Yeah.
So it's so fun.
We love it.
But absolutely insane news. I do think that this is shocking just because she's 44. So it's not every day that you are hearing about a pregnancy from someone who's 44, just because it like becomes like pretty unlikely when you're that age.
And he's 5 years younger, right? He's 37. So maybe not 5 years.
7 years?
37. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, a little bit of an age difference. Maybe that helped the baby be produced.
Oh my gosh. And she's so fit. Like, I went on her Instagram and she has reels of them literally doing their jujitsu together. And she's like, thank you so much for building my confidence back in these self-defense classes. And I think she tagged, it's like the Valente brothers. So it might be like a whole business that they have.
Yeah, I think it is.
And they live in Miami, so it was just like an easy thing. And it does seem like their families are kind of intertwining, because I believe that he has some kids on his own. She obviously is about to expect her third child, but she has 2 others. So it'll just be a nice, healthy, happy family. Maybe.
Healthy, very light. I mean, her youngest child, she had 12 years ago. So it's like, it is crazy that it's like, I'm sure she wasn't expecting it at all, but I'm sure she's happy if she genuinely like loves this guy and like wants to have a family with him. So excited to see what'll happen. We thought it'd be interesting to do a little breakdown of the Tom and Giselle relationship timeline and just some key moments to look back on, because when this news broke, it's like, it's not that I forgot about Tom and Giselle together, but it's like, they broke up a couple years ago. He's out of the NFL now. He's doing like, the commentating and announcing and stuff. But I was like, I'm kind of curious to like remind myself what this whirlwind romance looked like. So I'll just walk through some key beats of their timeline together and then their dramatic end.
Oh, let's hear it.
So this dates back to December 2006. It was a cold winter's night and friends introduced Tom and Giselle. She remembered thinking that he had the most gorgeous, charismatic smile that anyone has ever seen. They spent hours talking that night and then continued to talk every day since, and have never not talked since they've met each other. So immediately the fire was burning. The two were hitting it off. They were together. Everything's going great. It's honeymoon phase until disaster strikes in February. Just 2 months later, it is announced that Tom Brady's ex-girlfriend, Bridget Moynihan, is expecting a baby. And not just any baby, Tom Brady's baby.
Messy.
So that is hitting the news just 2 months after he starts dating Giselle. So obviously a lot of people are thinking that there's potentially overlap with these two relationships. We don't know if there was. Right. But the timelines are looking really sus that has happened.
Yeah. And if we think back on that time, 2006, she was like right in the peak of her career. Tom Brady was as well, or like in the middle. He's, they were both like very publicly well-known figures at the time. So I'm sure it was all over the tabloids.
Yeah. And obviously Giselle's Victoria's Secret model. Bridget Moynihan's also a Victoria's Secret angel. So it's like, you'd think, these two run in similar circles. So it's just kind of tea. So it's not very good, but she has the baby later that year. So Tom's first child, John, was born. I think Giselle was quoted saying like, this is a really happy time in their lives. And like, she like stepped in as like a mom as well to this, which like, I'm sure Bridget is just hating the whole thing. Like,
I can't even
great. Imagine. Like my ex's or my baby daddy's new girl, like loves being a mom to her bonus child, little John. I am curious about like how that's going to work with him in like the divorce now. We don't have to get into the weeds of like kids and stuff, but like what happens with the one that's not connected to her by blood? Like, does she still hang out with him? Yeah. I hope so. They still like spend all their time together.
Probably.
Anyways, so that's August 2007 that the child was born. Moving up to the beginning of 2009 in January, Tom and Giselle get engaged. So they lock it down. They have a super quick engagement. It's literally like 2 weeks that they plan this wedding and they get married in Santa Monica. It's just the two of them with their parents. And they ended up doing like another wedding 2 months later. But again, it was just the families. And so like, I don't really understand. Like, I think it's just like rich people have money and they're like, oh, you know what? It was so fun when we got married. You want to do it again? Like in Costa Rica, just for fun. So they did that. And if you're thinking did they get married so fast because she was perhaps knocked up? You would be correct. So she has their first baby, their baby boy, in December. So it's possible that it was right after, maybe on the honeymoon vibes, but all in that same year, they get engaged, married, and welcome their first child. So 2009 was a big year for Tom and Giselle.
And maybe that them having the baby kind of sped up that timeline, and we just like don't really know.
Totally. That's what I think might have happened. But then it's like, if it was in December, that would have been a little late. So it might have just been like, once they're married, all bets are off. Like if they have a kid, it's fine. And then it just happened sooner than they thought.
Yeah.
But they start a family together. And then 3 years later, they welcome their baby daughter into the world. So now they have technically 3 kids, and everything is going great for them. So we think, again, they're still the it couple. They've been dating for a while. They've been together about 6 years. And then in the beginning of 2015, we enter a major scandal in Tom Brady's career. And I'm talking about Deflategate. So whether or not you're a big football fan, I think everyone has heard the term Deflategate just because it was something so big in the media. But if you haven't heard, this was basically a scandal in which Tom Brady was accused of requesting that the footballs in the AFC Championship game were deflated slightly, which apparently just makes them easier to catch and throw, and it gives you a little bit of an advantage. And apparently there's like all these checks that the refs or whoever does on the balls before the game, during the game. And at first I was like, well, if you deflate the balls, like, wouldn't this help both sides? But apparently back then, this could still be how it is now. I'm not sure because I don't really pay attention to the science of the balls, but each offense has their own balls. And so the defense would never really like touch a deflated ball unless they were intercepting it. So it was very much like he could do this and only benefit himself.
Yeah.
So that was January 2015. They were playing the Colts. They end up winning and going on to win the Super Bowl that year against the Seahawks. So a super exciting time for Tom Brady, except for the fact that he's now getting investigated in Deflategate. The NFL ultimately, this goes on for months. They ultimately find him guilty, and they find the Patriots guilty. So the Patriots were fined $1 million. They had to forfeit 2 draft picks the following year. And then Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games. So not great. And then it was reported to an Us Weekly source that during this time, as you can imagine, Tom and Giselle are not doing well because it's just so much public pressure. It's so much scrutiny. It's so much people like thinking that Tom is a liar and a cheater. And then Giselle is just supposed to like be supportive. And who knows whether or not she knew about this, who knows the vibes. But that is, I think, the first time, other than the Bridget Moynihan scandal, that we see like stress tension between the couple, at least like in the media.
Yeah. I mean, after the Deflategate, I actually didn't think that he would be suspended for 4 games. I thought it would be more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because that's quite an advantage that you have. And I can only imagine like being a wife on the other side of that, knowing that you are like my partner as kind of like right in the center of that whole scandal. And to me, I mean, I don't know Giselle, but she does seem like a very wholesome person that is very intuitive and like has very good morals.
Yeah.
From what I know, and maybe like a part of this journey in the divorce has led her there, but like maybe a part of those conversations were like, how dare you do that? And like, you can't expect me to stand by your side and like be okay with this because it's not okay. Even though it didn't directly impact her, like no wrongdoing was due to her, but it also impacts your family. It impacts your image. It's not just Tom Brady, it's Tom Brady and Giselle and your family.
Yeah.
So, just speculation, but I'm sure that wasn't an easy time for either of them.
No, absolutely. It's like you just have to like stand by him, and it's like, damn, this makes me look kind of bad too, but I can't do anything about it. So that's, the first sign of trouble in paradise. A few years later, I don't know what this timing was aligned with, but in 2018, Giselle did an interview where she admitted that her marriage struggled after they had their first child and that they weren't nice to each other, which I do think is something that's super relatable and a lot of people go through. And it's not like something that is like a big red flag with this couple. I do think just the thing worth noting is that they hadn't publicly talked about anything. Like even after
later.
Deflategate or any other like things, they were very cautious, or they were very clear and like, we're good. Like we're great. Our marriage is amazing. And this is the first time that I think she was just like, yeah, like we haven't always been as happy as maybe we've said on social media or said in interviews. And it's for a really relatable reason, but it is like something like, you know, that she felt the need to talk about in 2018 when their first child was in 2009. So it's interesting. Like it seems like maybe if you weren't doing so well, maybe it's kind of coming back up again of like, well, we weren't great then, and kind of re-triggering the bad times.
Yeah. Wanting to be vulnerable.
Exactly. So during the next couple of years, they hit some milestones, like celebrating 10 years together. But at the same time, you know, they're posting a lot of really happy social media content together, how much they love each other and how great their relationship is. Happy anniversary, happy birthday, all the posts that you'd expect to see anything that like meets the eye, which is think happy couple. But Tom does do a few interviews admitting that Giselle doesn't actually like sports and that their marriage is a lot of hard work. He says, you know, they're both ambitious and they're kind of like ships passing in the night. And it's, you know, I do think a lot of parents end up having to deal with that when it's like you're both working because you both need salaries to like support like having a kid and having your lifestyle. Both these people are so rich. And I do think when he says like passing in the night, it's like, that's Giselle's working to help raise the family. And I think it comes out that he didn't really have much to do in that. So him like not contributing and him not being around is like just directly related to his football.
Yeah.
And so him to kind of say, oh, she doesn't really like sports and, you know, this is a lot of hard work. Like we're both ambitious people. It's like, okay, you're both ambitious, but she did give up her career and you have dedicated your entire life to football. Football is your number one passion. You moved the family from Massachusetts down to Florida and she's put work on the back burner to focus on the kids. So him like specifically saying that in an interview, I thought was a little bit shady that he was trying to make it seem like they were both at fault. And this is before any sort of like issues happened.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was a little sus.
Yeah, that is interesting. And that was something that I was going to mention was like, I feel like after the divorce, she was saying like she had to give up her career in modeling and like, now I feel like she's starting to reopen that page again of modeling. She's doing some things here and there. So I don't have any kids. I know that I can't speak to like experience or anything, but I'm sure that is just like, it's also a really common thing where like, usually you see both, you know, in a modern family, both of the people in the couple, they're trying to work and they're trying to figure out ways to take care of the kids and like time just like goes by and it's like, where's the time for us?
Exactly.
So obviously their case is a little different, but still yet like it's still common, you know, it's very common.
Exactly. So they're dealing with that. And then fast forward to 2021, Tom Brady is now on the Buccaneers and wins his 7th Super Bowl ring during his first season with the Bucs. So he is unstoppable. He plays another season with the Bucs and announces his retirement after 22 seasons. And he does quote that family is the reason for the for wanting to no longer play football. He thanks Giselle. He says she's been like there for my family. She has been taking care of the kids on her own. She's been handling everything. And I'm done with football. I have to, you know, I don't want to miss any more of my kids' lives. I want to be there for my wife. And, you know, everyone's happy for him. Like, you know, he's coming off of, he's won 7 Super Bowls. Like he's definitely done it all in football and more. And merely 6 weeks later, he announces he's coming back. And Giselle's commenting on the social media post and saying like, let's go, super happy for you. So again, like publicly facing, she has to be the one who is supportive and just going along with what he wants to do. And she still has to stay home with the kids and he has to, you know, get back out there for football because he retired for 6 weeks and was like, oh my God, I can't handle it. I can't do it. So fast forward to September, he's not at training camp. And I do remember this time where news starts swirling about why isn't Tom Brady at training camp? And it comes out that, you know, Giselle is actually not happy and supportive that he's back. And that's when we as a public learn that it was a really bad look, which I think a lot of us could have assumed. If you're saying I'm retiring to spend time with my family, just kidding. Fuck you guys. I'm going back to football. I like football more than my family is essentially how that would feel. And so he's trying to fix things while he's not at training camp. It also comes out that they're living in separate houses. They hire divorce lawyers. And then in October 2022, they call it quits after 14 years of marriage.
That is
sad.
A long time, but also, I mean, a long time for the celebrity world in my eyes.
Exactly. It's so long. That's why I was like, damn, we had to do a whole timeline. Cause I'm like, what happened in these 14 years? Like,
yeah.
And it was like, this is just like a long-winded way of saying like, you know, they have a lot of great moments together. Like they have a lot of red carpets. They were at the Met Gala. They were posting for each other's birthdays. They were taking trips together. They were taking trips with some of Tom's teammates. They had their kids. Like they're very busy. Tom is thriving and winning 7 Super Bowls. And then when he can't give it up a season too soon, she is done. And honestly, rightfully so. So about a year later, she, as you mentioned, she was kind of seen with Joaquin Valente, like right after the divorce. I think a month after the news of the divorce broke, she and her kids were in Costa Rica and he was there too. So everyone was like, what the fuck? Why is your jujitsu instructor on vacation with you? And it's like, oh, he's a friend. He's a friend. And then of course it comes out that they're dating. So, she originally met him when she was signing her son up for jiu-jitsu classes, then ended up taking the same class.
That's
like
hilarious.
So funny. And they're together. They confirmed their relationship this year in March of 2024. And of course now are welcoming their first baby.
That happens
in
so
a few
fast.
months.
And
Tom is down bad.
He is down bad. I think back on that moment when he retires and then he announces his retirement. And then he decides a few weeks later that he's going to go back in for one more year. Was it worth it? Was it worth it?
No.
Fuck
no.
And I mean, I obviously am never and like don't think I am as successful as Tom Brady. Like you have 7 Super Bowl rings. You've been playing football your whole life. You have a business. You have multiple businesses. You have some things lined up where people want you to be an anchor on sports networks. Like you could have a life after that. And I just don't know. Again, like I don't have the mind of Tom Brady. So in my mind, I feel like that's a very easy decision to be like, my wife may leave me and I may to some level not have my family in this way if I decide to go back to football, and yet he still decides to go back is like kind of crazy. But again, like there are only so many like goats out there. And if your whole life is football, like of all people to make that decision, it's Tom Brady.
Yeah. It's like, obviously like we'll side with Giselle, but to be like devil's advocate for Tom too, it makes sense. Like I think he did some interviews where he was talking about like, no one can really understand what it's like to go through what Tom Brady went through. Not like go through, like it was obviously very positive because no one's ever won as many Super Bowls as he has, but like to experience that level of adrenaline, of fame, of leading your team, of that just like stimulation constantly, of that praise, of this is your whole identity. And that is just so many years of your lives. I want to say it was like 22 seasons he played in the NFL. And it's just for that long of a time to have something completely define you, to be so good at it, to have so many people praising you for it, and to just have such a feel of adrenaline and just success and thrill. It's like, I do worry about these players because it's like definition of like you peaked really early. And I imagine it's so hard for so many of them to like move on with their lives afterwards when it's like, what's left?
What's left, yeah.
This was the best time of my life when you're someone who's as successful as Tom Brady. And so for him to have to make that decision initially of like, yes, I'm going to retire because he probably knows it's the right thing to do. He knows that Giselle's upset. Like objectively, he wants to spend time with his kids as any parent would. And he had to live with that decision for a few weeks and just probably was totally freaked out inside of like, oh my God, what does my life look like? I haven't had to deal with this forever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I could understand the mindset. It's just, you just kind of have to, you should have been preparing for that more.
Moment.
Like it seems like he hadn't been considering Giselle at all before it was too late.
Yeah. It's almost like they lived their whole relationship kind of like centered around Tom Brady when like she was ready for her she was ready for her time and like their time together and their time with their children. And he just wasn't ready for his timeline to be over yet. And it is unfortunate because like that was his whole identity. And like now I feel like he really is stepping into this like new chapter, which is exciting. And eventually he did retire. Who knows if he actually means it. He could change his mind tomorrow. But, you know, I think he just loves to be in the public eye. He loves the fame. He loves the princess treatment. He's really king treatment in this case.
Literally.
For him. So happy for him. Happy for Giselle. I think I have a quote here that they are happy for this new chapter in their life. I'm talking about Giselle and Joaquin, not Tom, but I'm sure he's happy too. But they are happy for this new chapter in their life, and they're looking forward to creating a peaceful and loving environment for their whole family.
Well, I'm happy to hear that because that's what she deserves. Yeah. And I just can't help but think about the fact that she is like in a serious relationship where she's welcoming a child and he's like agreeing to get roasted on Netflix for money.
I know.
It's like, God, it makes sense. It's like Tom is this guy who's like so egocentric that it's like, yeah, of course I want people to talk about me and I'll like take getting roasted. And
it kind of backfired for him. I don't think he realized like how hurt he was going to be.
And it was all about Giselle and the jujitsu instructor. Yeah. And she's probably like, I don't know, probably not even watching because she's like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. I had to deal with this for 14 years and I'm going to be happy with my hot young jujitsu instructor and focus on raising my child.
Yeah, exactly. But peace and love to the whole family.
Peace and love to everyone.
Yes, they are going to have to figure out a way to, you know, co-parent.
There's a lot of kids
with
in the mix.
all of the, you know, all of the families involved.
Yeah.
So
there's so much.
Yes.
Well, all right. Shall we get into the spooky game of tonight?
Yes, we shall.
Yes, we shall.
We sure shall.
Tell us about the matchup that we have.
All right. So on this spooky evening tonight, we have one matchup for Thursday Night Football. And that, of course, is none other than the Jets versus the Texans. And it's interesting because we were kind of doing some research before this, and like their records are just like completely inverse.
Yeah,
the Jets are 2-6. The Texans are 6-2. So obviously the Texans have a little bit of an advantage there. But I'm gonna kind of dive into just some kind of things to look out for and some possible like storylines coming out from the Jets side of the ball. As I mentioned, the Jets are currently 2-6. They lost to the Patriots last week in like the last few seconds of the game. Definitely a very winnable game. They haven't won since the last time they played the Patriots, which was their game 3, week 3. And they have been on a road of just defeat since then. Oh. Right now we're entering, week 9. So they have 5 consecutive games that they've lost.
Oh, it's so sad.
And there's obviously been a lot of movement there. We have Aaron Rodgers coming back from injury. You have Devontae Adams being traded, who used to play with Aaron Rodgers back in the day. So there's a lot going on. I think where they can possibly win in this game is on their defense. Their defense has been in the top 5 in the league since the season has started in terms of passing yards per game, in terms of total yards, in terms of sacks per pass attempt. So they are in the top 5 in a lot of categories on the defensive side of the ball. In terms of takeaways, they're number 25. But the defense did lose in the last minute of the Patriots game last week, where the Jets allowed a 70-yard drive that led the Patriots to win. I think the final score, the Patriots won by 1 point, and it was just gut-wrenching for the Jets fans out there. They obviously had some changes with the coaches as well, so there's some question marks on how this team is kind of being led as well. So lots to look out for there. In terms of the offense, we know that Aaron Rodgers has had a little bit of a hot start at the beginning of the season. There's a lot of hope from Jets fans. Now he is kind of a little bit not as fast. We're seeing him very injury prone. I think it was 2 games ago. He had like a very interesting fall. So he just kind of hasn't been producing as well as he hoped, especially in this last Patriots game. But you have guys like Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and you have Breece Hall, and then Tyler Conklin, who is their tight end. They've all been making a lot of moves. And he has the weapons. That's the thing. It's just a matter of if they can kind of execute on all of that. So the thing that comes to mind for me on the offensive side, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that has been pressured the least. So Aaron Rodgers' pressure rate right now is 25%. And that's the lowest across the entire league, which means he kind of has some time to throw the ball, which is nice. So hopefully that actually turns into wins for him. He had 2 touchdowns and 233 yards in this past game. And with those numbers, that seems like it's probably a winnable game. But of course, in that last few seconds, they unfortunately were defeated by the Patriots. So I think if the Jets are to win this game, they need to play complementary football where it's not just the Jets defense that are holding them through and keeping, the Texans at bay. The offense, we need to see those explosive plays. We need to see Devontae Adams get over 100 yards. I think the only person in this past game that did was Garrett Wilson. He had 113 yards. And he has in the last 4 games. So he's kind of on a little bit of a hot streak right now. So we need to see that continue a little bit more. The last thing I'll say about the Jets is their special teams. Their kicker has currently hit 9 of 15 field goal attempts this season.
No.
So they've currently picked up 2 people on the practice squad to kind of replace him because he unfortunately is headed on injured reserve with a knee injury. So it is just kind of chaos in every single way, maybe except for the defense. They continue to stay consistent. The question is, will they be consistent across the board? And we'll never know. Well, we'll know today.
we'll find out later today. I mean, the Jets, it's such a crazy one for this year. I mean, just like to touch on the special teams, like the fact that he's missed almost half the field goals is so insane. And it's really detrimental to your teams to not have a strong field goal kicker because in those tight games, you need to be able to rely on those 3 points when you can get them. You're not always going to be able to get all the way to the end zone, but you need to be putting points on the board.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when you're talking about the strength of the team, you might forget about, their special teams, like you mentioned. And if that skill set is not there, you are going to have a much harder time clinching those tough games where it's like you're down by 3, you're down by 2, you're losing by 1. It's like you look back and the easiest things like, if he had just made that field goal, we could have won.
Yeah.
So exactly. It's like that definitely, they've got to get that together. But I mean, the fact that they aren't scoring touchdowns with the talented offense they have with MVP Aaron Rodgers, his buddy Devontae Adams now added to the squad. You have Garrett Wilson, you have Mike Williams, you have superstar Breece Hall, and you're still not putting up that many points and you're letting your defense do most of the work to get you even to stay in any games. There is something so broken on that team.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad to see that it was such a hyped up squad because of the talent and they've just now lost 5 games in a row.
I know. And it makes me think if it's the head coach or not, because they have all these talented players. I think it's a little bit of the coach.
But they fired him.
Yeah, but
they still lost.
Right. I'm saying like their whole coaching squad.
Oh, get everyone out. clear the building.
I don't know how possible that is, but something needs to change on that side. But also like, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is their guy. I don't know if he's going to be the one that's going to bring their team, as talented as they are, to a championship.
It'd be time to throw in the towel, big guy.
Yeah. And we know he's good. He's already legendary. Like, you don't need to play till you're 45 to let us all know that.
I think the theme of today's episode is like quit while you're ahead.
Yeah.
And don't stay in the NFL too long. Like you need to be able to get over your ego and get off of the field. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, like
you don't need one more Super Bowl.
Like you don't need one more Super Bowl. We're kind of feeling bad for Aaron Rodgers. We're feeling really bad for Tom Brady. And it's like these guys used to be at the top of the world. It's like don't overstay your welcome.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
On the other side of the ball, we have thankfully a young quarterback in CJ Stroud. And, he has a bright future ahead of him in the NFL. The Texans have, I heard someone say this and it sounded very accurate for the Texans. They've quietly gone to 6-2. Because I feel like, I haven't been hearing like CJ Stroud has been absolutely killing it or like by any means. They don't have any major stars on their team, but they are a very, very solid football team that just knows how to win games. And they've come together really well. Their defense is amazing. They obviously have a superstar at quarterback. So they have been doing awesome this season at 6-2. So where this game, we might see that potentially shift a little bit. And what the big story is for the Texans is that Stephon Diggs, their star wide receiver, is now out for the year after tearing his ACL last weekend against the Colts. So
that's unfortunate.
That is really
so many
sad.
ACL injuries.
So that's what I'm saying is like, that is like the number one injury right now. It's like Achilles, ACL, like just, oh my God. If you hear that, it's like, they're just out. So I think it was a non-contact injury too, which again, is just always the worst. Cause it's like, God, you only have yourself to blame for those. Yeah. But he obviously joined the Texans this year coming over from the Bills. And a lot of Texans fans were super excited to get another offensive weapon for CJ Stroud. And he's no longer going to be part of the team for the rest of the year. Another issue with the Texans is that Nico Collins, their other wide receiver, is out with a hamstring injury and he's currently on injured reserve.
Yeah.
So that deep field is looking empty at the moment. We need someone to step up, and that someone that we're looking at is wide receiver number 3, Tank Dell. So he's a younger player as well. He was drafted to the Texans last year, and while he started off pretty strong, I believe he was a third round pick for the Texans. He's currently struggling this year. So last season, he was averaging about 56 yards per game, and now he's only at 31 yards per game. And, they've been asking him a lot of questions. He's been featured in some interviews of, how are you going to step up now that the other 2 wide receivers are injured? Like, you got to be the guy now. And I think he's a little nervous. Like, I think he's scared. I think he knows he hasn't been producing and he's likely going to get a lot more targets. However, CJ Stroud has some other options. They got their tight end, Dalton Schultz, who's, he's been doing all right. He's like been splitting targets, I think, with Tank Dell. And they also have, of course, their running back, Joe Mixon, who's been doing really great. His last 3 games, he's rushed for over 100 yards, which is awesome to see that consistency, especially if you have him in fantasy. So the Texans, they are down but not out. I do still have them favored to win the game. Something else I'll say is their defense is top notch. So their pass defense, talking about their pass defense, their completion rate percentage allowed is ranked number 1 in the NFL. So they're blocking a lot of passes. They're driving a lot of incomplete passes from the offense. Also, their pass rush, they have the highest pressure rate in the NFL and the 3rd most sacks in the NFL. So the short field, pressuring the quarterback, the long game, trying to make it harder for these wide receivers to catch balls. They are doing this better than almost every other team. So that is a reason why they have won 6 games and only lost 2. We'll see if the offense can stay strong without their 2 top receiving guys. But I still have faith in this Texans team. And hopefully Nico Collins is able to return from the IR soon. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, I believe he's entering free agency after this season.
He is, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to rejoin the Texans or if we'll find him with a new home in the next season.
Yeah. I mean, even with all of these injuries, I still have so much faith in the Texans. I love the quiet, what was it?
They've quietly moved to 6-2. I think someone on TV said that. I was like, that's so true.
Yeah, it is true. Because
it's a really good record.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the discussions right now is obviously like the Ravens. Then you have like the new it team is the Commanders because of Jaden Daniels. Yeah. And I feel like CJ Stroud last year was in the headlines just as Jaden is this year. Yeah. Like they want to put a spotlight on a rookie who's doing really well. I think a lot of people at first thought it was Caleb. Now it's Jaden. Yeah. So now that CJ Stroud is entering his 2nd year, like, the spotlight's off of him, but I feel like that's a perfect place to be because I do think that people have expectations for the Texans, but it may not be, the Lions level or the Ravens level. So if they win, great. Like their ceiling is high. So it doesn't surprise me. Like I love that little bit. And I love watching CJ Stroud. He's like such a dog, like he loves football. He's from the IE, so we connect on that. So I'll always like secretly be rooting for them.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Joe Mixon is a stud. He's going to do great for them with the run game. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a problem.
He's going to have a big old problem. We'll see if, that time that he has to throw the ball gets a little bit less when he's playing against such a good pass rush defense.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll see. But the game should be on any minute now.
Yeah, depending on what time we release this episode. Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the preview. And if the Texans win, just saying on record, that was our prediction.
Yeah. Agreed.
I want to go against what people think, but
do people think it's the Jets?
No. I mean, I think people think it's the Texans. It'd be fun if we had a hot take on this, but
no.
I think we've been watching both teams. Unfortunately, the Jets way too much in prime time. They don't let them have a break from the prime schedule.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very aware of how they're doing.
I think that the Jets have the most primetime spots out of any team in the NFL this year because they just really thought they put so much investment behind Aaron Rodgers, bringing the fans.
Exactly.
How's that going for you?
It's not going well. It's not going well, and he continues to have to show his face in primetime.
I would be another one.
Please
stop.
Get me off
just
the national
let us
TV.
Lose in peace.
Just let me retire peacefully.
Yes.
Let me get out of here.
The Texans are quietly winning. Let the Jets quietly lose.
Please let them quietly lose, and don't bring up the Jets again.
Yes, but if you guys win, we're rooting for you guys.
Oh yeah, we believed in you the whole time.
Yeah,
don't even worry about it.
However. No more prime times.
No more prime times, please. But yes, we're so excited for Spooky Game. We're so excited that we are having such a fun spooky season. Are you going to go watch another horror movie after this?
Maybe.
Love it. She can't be stopped.
I don't know if we have one in the queue, but
I'm sure you'll find
one.
Okay, Fumblers. Well, we love you guys so much. We can't wait to hear about all your Halloween costumes and how you spend the holiday.
Happy Halloween.
Bye, guys.
Short episode.